moved to Oregon, slowed down, started picking up again after you made some changes, and then you started following trends, made more changes, and it went down, right? Mm-hmm. That's where we're at. So, at what point did you start getting worried? Like, when were you like, wow, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was worried in Portland, but I got even more worried, like, right when I moved here. Because I was like...
It's like Portland, you were making rent, and...
Like, yeah, I was just getting by. Like, obviously, I had to find other tweaks, like, selling, like, personal stuff to, like, make rent sometimes. But, like, besides that, is like, I just made enough money to, like, get by.
Right.
But it wasn't until you, like, asked me to, like, move here. And that was a huge thing, because...
So I've...
No, not at all. Because I knew it...
So, yeah, everything was fine until I fucking moved in with you. No. That's when it all went downhill.
Because I knew the consequences that, like, could happen. Because I was like, it's a plus for me because fingerboarding is core in LA. There's a huge scene. And one of my biggest things was, like, in my head was, like, oh, I'm not really connecting with, like, actually being able to, like, see my customers firsthand.
Because there's, like, fingerboard events and whatnot, right? And that's what you told me when you're moving in is, like, there's not really much fingerboarding events in Portland.
Yeah.
And, like, how many, like, annual Fortnite? I was just thinking about Fortnite. How many annual fingerboarding tournaments? I can't talk.
Just, like, contests and
like,
events.
just, like where as a brand you can go and kind of expand.
There's about, like, 2 to 3 a month.
Oh, so it's, like, frequent.
Yeah.
And because I remember you telling me that's part of the reason you wanted to move down here was, like, get involved with the scene more.
Exactly.
Which made perfect sense.
Because I was like, this is going to boost my business. But at the same time, I started getting stressed because I was like, moving does cost some money. But, like, I was like, whatever it is, I'll figure it out. I'll get on my feet and I'll just grind. And then it's just like one thing led to the next. Like, I wasn't able to make my bills. Like, I can't drive my car because, like, registration's expired, and all these things just started hitting where, like, I couldn't even make it to the events, or it was too much work to, like, make decks for the event and then for my site too. And I kind of, at that point, is like, I was going, like, robotic. Like, I was just making things, and I didn't know what I was making it for, but I was just kind of
hammering out words.
Yeah, just making it. And then also relying on, like, wholesales to, like, hopefully get me by.
So pretty much since you moved from Oregon to this point, it was just slowly going down and down and down, or was it kind of staying level?
Just the truth is, I thought it was always going to go down. Like, that's why I was hoping this was, like, kind of my last, like...
Your last attempt to,
boost it back up. Because I was like, if I can't, like... even come
a little bit closer.
If
I don't know how the audio works on these, so, like, this is pretty much a test podcast.
If I can't come close to even making my bills and things like that alone, just off of like events alone, then I knew I was just fucked, because I fully lost, like, all of my customers through, like, social media from just not posting enough and not communicating enough, and just kind of, like, it got to a point where people thought I was just being shady and wishy-washy. Like, they didn't...
And so you think that the reason, correct me if I'm wrong, you believe that the reason your company, I don't want to say failed because it didn't fail, but, like, the cause of the downfall for your company was just lack of communication? Or, because I mean, I know personally as your friend that your boards only got better. I mean, like, I was living with you and you were, like, trying new shit, making your boards better.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know that owning a company, quality isn't always the biggest thing. It comes down to, like, customer support, marketing, and whatnot.
Exactly.
But what could you have done differently that you would think could have saved the company, if there is anything, or if it was just a dying industry?
No, like, there's definitely a lot of money to be made in that industry. But it really came down to, if I would have just accepted the quality of my decks, which were more than fine, and stopped tinkering with it and left it as it is, and like when you get good at making fingerboards, they're not hard to make. So it's like that could have just been kind of on the back burner, and then me focusing on my Instagram and actually communicating with people and actually making a...
So like the back end of it.
Yeah.
Like you have the boards down, just a matter. It's like if you had employees, you would have been fine.
Yeah.
Because you were just fucking burnt out.
Exactly.
as I would imagine.
I spent so much time making decks and putting all my effort into that is like by the time I was done with that, I'm like, dude, like I don't want to go through emails and like contact everyone. And
for reference, how long does a board take to make? Because I know you have like a certain amount of presses, so you have to let it dry.
Yeah.
Like for them, how many hours a day are we looking at in manual labor alone?
Like it's kind of hard because it is scattered because there's a lot of wait time.
Mm-hmm.
But to get a whole board finished, usually about 3 days. But I do them in batches. So I'll press one day and then I'll cut them the next day and then round and lacquer the next day.
And then, so, like you said, a lot of that is glue drying, lacquer drying,
mm-hmm.
all that.
Yeah.
Okay. So 3 days for finished board.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not even including customer support,
that's
Instagram, social media, marketing. Yeah, I mean, I get it. And I fully understand. So, I mean, this is... I'm sure a lot of my viewers don't even know that you're not doing subliminal anymore because it's a pretty recent change.
Yeah.
So up until this point, you're barely staying afloat. What happened? What changed? Like, when did you just pull the plug?
One of my biggest fears when I got into this was like, okay, I'm making like steady money, and what if I just woke up one day and
Technical difficulties. I don't know what happened. The camera stopped recording. This is our first podcast. So yeah, continue. Yeah,
so my biggest fear was waking up one day and not being able to sell anything. And that fear times 10 happened. And I told you about it, how you asked me about my stock, and I was like, I haven't sold anything. And a week goes by, still haven't sold anything. And then next thing I know, 2 months goes by and I haven't sold anything.
Nothing?
Sold nothing. But at that time, there was still the same amount of boards, but I upped my game on marketing. And I tried everything except for the one thing that I should have been doing was just personally reaching out to customers and
building the customer loyalty.
Yeah, like whether I took a loss on sales or not, I could have regained everyone's trust of like, oh, this is like a loyal company and we're here to like serve you. But that didn't run across my mind. My mind was like, oh, I have a fuck ton of bills to pay. Why aren't you fucking nitwits buying shit?
Yeah.
Like that's what ran through my head. I was like, dude, I have like one of the finest decks out there and like you don't want to buy it. And it just turns out that it's like, it doesn't matter how nice your shit is. Like if you're not a good person,
salesman.
If you're not good, not even salesman. If you don't have good communications with your customers, you're not going to sell shit. That's just how it is. And also at that time, like before all of that, I think the peak to the downfall was me like not doing YouTube.
Right.
Was that like that's where it all started, and that's where my community was. Like everything I gained off of Instagram, that wasn't my actual community. Those weren't the people that jumped in and bought boards and stuff. Like everyone that supported me from day one was on YouTube. But
I guess we sort of forgot to mention that because you said that you started it off YouTube. When did you stop uploading and why?
I stopped uploading when I started like taking it seriously. Like I think I stopped like a month before I moved to Portland.
Okay, and that was
because the workload was too heavy.
Much time?
I couldn't just like run a full business and then like film a video, edit it, and have it all up. And so like that's the huge part that really got me scared was I'm not doing YouTube anymore. Don't know how that's gonna affect it, but we'll see. And it didn't like by the time I understood what was happening and went back to try to fix it to just do YouTube again. It just didn't work out because
it'd been too long.
Yeah, it'd been way too long. I think it was like 6 months, and I posted my first video, and like it just didn't do well. So I was like, yeah, I lost.
When did you make it official that you were done with the company?
I think last month, right?
Was that sad?
Or like 2 months ago? It wasn't sad, just because like I knew it was kind of like I knew it was coming when I was living in Oregon, and I was like, yeah, like I just didn't know it was gonna be
Happen so quick.
Yeah, happen so quick. And so
Do you think that mindset fucked you up at all? Like having this mindset of what 3-4 months in advance, like this company is going to go to an end, it's just a matter of when. Like do you think it was just, it was physically not really possible with one person to build this up and scale it up?
I don't think it messed me up. I think the biggest thing was that like I knew it was going to end regardless, because I just couldn't make my reputation the way that was. Like you can never take a step back and be like, okay, like this is how I am now, because like I was only moving forward, so it'd be pointless to go back. So I wasn't, that didn't bother me. What bothered me was that I had no idea what the hell I was gonna do after. Like,